Hi everyone, Jason Chan here with Traffic and Convert, and today's video we are actually going through some questions that I actually did some screenshots over the past couple of weeks, and what I want to do is see if I could do this on a weekly basis and answer questions as quick as I can, and going through all these different posts regarding Amazon paid ads or even Walmart. And what I'm looking at here is, if you ever watch Jim Cramer's Mad Money, he has a segment there on CNBC called Lightning Round. Basically, you give a stock, let's say Microsoft, Adobe, whatever it is, you give the symbol, and what he will do is actually give you his best recommendation of what he thinks you should do, buy or sell, what exactly, without actually knowing your full portfolio, without knowing your strategy, anything like that. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Again, I don't know any of these, most of these people's here that I'm screenshotting, and I try to do the best I can with answering these questions, making a few assumptions basically based on the questions that I am reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the lightning round, and let me get through as much as I can. So, does ASIN targeted ads bring our keyword ranking higher? Wondering how. Okay, so this is a great question. We don't have direct information on how this correlates when you are targeting a specific competitor, ASIN, for example, right? What kind of ranking or juice it's going to give you, unless you actually try to track it yourself in different tools out there. But in general, the theory is, if you are bidding for the search term fishing pole for kids, and your competitor that you're targeting gets the click, receives the click, and maybe it doesn't convert, but clicks on your ad because you're targeting that specific ASIN, then you might get a little bit of credit for that, a little bit of juice of that. How much higher? I don't know, but has to be some sort of correlation between what was searched to get to your competitor's page and giving your ad the credit for that specific search term. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. No impressions in new campaign launch for 1 month. Found new keyword and added a new campaign. Keywords are indexed according to Helium 10. Bid is 4x the recommended rate, but 0 impressions. Do I need to upload a category report to reindex and force the A9 algo? Thoughts? Okay, so my initial thoughts here is found new keywords and added a new campaign. So I'm assuming you are graduating that campaign maybe from your, for example, from your auto campaign or broad campaign over to a phrase or an exact match campaign. So either way, you are promoting it from one set of campaign to the other. So I'm assuming that you may not have negated the search term from your source over to the target. So we want to do some keyword isolation, if you will, search term isolation, to really isolate the keywords that you want to target in your campaigns without having much overlap, right? So you should definitely negate from the source. If you have, here's another thing, sometimes when you negate a keyword from that source over to the new campaign, you might not just get enough traffic. So what I would do is kind of reverse that a little bit. I'm going to lower my bid from the source. Let's say the bid is it's $1, right? I'll lower that bid to, let's say, 50 cents and increase your bid. You have 4x the bid over there. That should start getting some traction. You might need to give it a few days or a week for it to start getting traction. I'm assuming that you did a good job on negating all these the same keyword across all your campaigns, and there's no overlap over there. Ahmad, I have run first 3 auto campaigns with different match types, close, loose, substitute, but I'm not getting clicks, not even impressions. What should I do? Need some guideline from PPC experts. Okay, so as I'm looking at it now, there's like 44 comments. I haven't read through that, but kind of something it's a little bit odd for you to run an auto campaign with no impressions. You might have to look at your ad to make sure the product that you're promoting is actually active. For example, that might be one case. Or maybe your bids and your budget might be a bit low. So I would check those two things in your bid, in your campaign, making sure the product that you are targeting is actually active. Okay, so let's go ahead to the next one from Chin Lu Fern. What should I do if my best sales comes from the highest ACOS? My ACOS ranges from 71 to 263%, all from auto campaign. Okay, so that's good. When you first launch, maybe you want to use auto campaigns, right? So the next step here is actually, given your situation, I would start creating manual campaigns. You probably see that from all those comments there. But it's good to have a strategy. What I would normally do is actually create a broad and exact phrase match campaign with different, I'll call it the tier, volume-based tier approach when creating campaigns. Basically, you have different buckets of keywords that we're targeting based on volume. So that way you don't actually put all the high converting, high search terms in one bucket, and then Amazon going to start favoring certain keywords in your campaign, right? So I normally like to bucket different search terms through different match types. So in your case, now that you see things that are converting, any search terms that are converting, what I would do is actually start breaking them off to negate it from your auto campaign, create a broad match campaign, and an exact campaign from that. So again, if your keyword is fishing pole for kids, what I would do is create that for the broad campaign and then negate that as exact. And for your exact campaign, you will have the fishing pole for kids. Okay. So one thing to note there is the bid. So you want to make sure you bid maybe just a little bit more than what you are currently converting at. Just make sure you get some traction there and negate it from your auto campaign. Okay. So moving on, Irfan. Hey everyone, how can we fix the strike through price issue? As I have updated the sale price in the Seller Central Amazon listing, but the price does not appear with strike through price. So depending on which category you're normally in, the strike through price may or may not work for you and under certain circumstances, right? Within the past, for example, 30 days, your price needs to be lower at a certain amount. So for example, I tried this in the past where, let's say your product is $50, you increase it to $60, and then you try to put it on sale to get that strike price. That would not work at $50 because and what Amazon normally does is take a 30-day history to see what your average, what your selling price is before it actually gives you that strike through price. And not all categories has that. Most categories do, but pay attention to when you try to manipulate the price in a short amount of period, you may not get that bottom line, that strike through price. So watch your 30-day window when you want to do promotions and even just a price discount. So we have Sobia. Hi all. Hello all. Would you please tell me what is manufacturer part number? Where can I find it? What to write in it? It's a new listing. I appreciate your answers. Okay. This is nothing to do with PPC, but how I saw this, I thought it's pretty interesting because I usually use this as part of my just a SKU number. So if you have, for example, certain integrations with a different platform and you need to use certain SKUs for that manufacturers that you could actually remember them by, you could have that in that manufacturer part number. So if you were a wholesaler or a distributor, drop shipper, you would actually enter your manufacturer's part number, and you might have another Amazon SKU just for you to keep track of things if things are different. So that's how I would use manufacturer part number. So we have one from from Nare Yang. Is there a special link I have to get the special 10% bonus Amazon is giving for the seller when we bring the outside traffic? Is Amazon still doing that? Yes, Amazon's still doing it. I will have a link below here in the show notes. Basically, if you are brand registered, go ahead to your brand tab and click on it. In the drop down menu, you should see Brand Referral Program there if you're brand registered. Okay, so that's the link you need to click on. You need to enter some of your tax information, even though you've done it to open your account. You need to fill that form again, tax information, to get yourself qualified for it, and then you can start creating your attribution link in Advertising Seller Central, and then link that up to your Google, Facebook account, wherever you want to drive traffic from. I do have a module that I'm creating just for this. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you should see that in my course. The links are below as well. Nick Hodge, you're getting sales, but your ACOS is 100%. What do you do? Okay, so there's about 51 comments now. I think this is probably 1 week old. But what I would do is, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of comments regarding this, is when you get a lot of ACOS, what I would like to do is look at your target ACOS as well, right? So if I'm right now trading in $1 for $1 every time, that may or may not make sense depending where you are in your product life cycle. So in your product life cycle, if you're just launching, 100% may make sense. But if you're in your growth stage, maybe several months into launching, maybe later, maybe even a year, you may not want to be at 100% ACOS. But if you're in a very competitive category for these tier 1 kind of keywords, and you might be performing at 100%, what I would do is look at your organic sales. If I'm giving basically 1-to-1 on ACOS, am I getting 3% back? I mean, 3 times the amount of organic traffic back? Am I getting 10 times back, right? If that makes sense, if that target ACOS makes sense in the total revenue, organic lift that you're gonna get makes sense for that 100% ACOS, then I will keep it, right? Really depends on where you are in your product life cycle and what your total organic lift, in my opinion, is from that 100% ACOS you're receiving for your campaign. Or it might just be a matter of you really optimizing your campaign. Depending your auto, broad, whatever campaign it is, you need to really optimize it and take care of your campaign. Okay. David Harris, how do you become profitable with Amazon PPC with a low margin product? Raise prices or lower bids and get less impressions? Great question, because I actually started selling these type of low margin products in 7 years ago, probably, where it is competitive. I think you need to actually consider what minimum margin you're willing to take for these products, right? If the market supports the raising of the price, definitely try. I definitely have raised prices, and I haven't seen a drop in sale when I first did that, when it was less competitive. It really depends on the category you're in. So if your lowest margin is acceptable to you, if that 10%, maybe 20, 30, whatever it is, makes sense to you, or actually if it doesn't make sense to you, then you could definitely raise your price. Again, lower your bids is another. Again, depending on where you are in the product life cycle, as I said in the previous comment over here, for Nick, 100% ACOS does make sense when you first launch. Again, I'm looking at my total ACOS, how much revenue I can actually get. It's all a ranking game as well. You have to really consider ranking. If you're on page 10 and you're trying to get to page 2, page 1, you might have to break even for quite some time to actually get yourself, get some sales velocity for your specific search term to get onto page 1, and really kind of play that game on helping you rank, whatever it takes for you to rank your product. Elad, Hi all, I am looking to learn about Google Ads. Can anyone point me to a good source on YouTube? Looking this up gets you a ton of those BS hype channels. So I thought someone here might know of a small channel quality content like Badger channel. Thanks. Okay, Elad, I'm actually creating a course right now for Google Ads. Google's been around for a long time before Amazon, so there's plenty of a basic Google Ads campaign you can look for. For someone stepping into Google without, if you haven't ever touched Google or Bing, Yahoo Ads before, or even Facebook, it's very similar to Amazon. Just think of it as structurally, you have your campaigns, you have your ad groups, you have your keywords. So that's basically the same structure across all the different platforms. So when you go into it, think of it that way, and don't forget to take of the brand attribution referral program. If you, I think that's what you're trying to allude to. Get the attribution link. Basically, create the same set of campaigns that you do for very, very specific keywords you want to rank for, and put in those attribution links. Again, I should have my course updated maybe in 2 weeks or so to have that particular strategy and how to actually implement this. Macau. Hello, I have a few questions regarding PPC. I am after 1 month of selling. I think my launch was pretty good, but here are the questions. Okay, number one, if my sponsored listing and organic listings are in top 1 to 10 on specific keyword, then I have to reduce the bid on that keyword. Do you have to? No, I think you're asking if you need to or not. Can also reduce the PPC budget on that campaign. So if you are ranking for that, and you kind of hear that a lot, right? Depending on which category you're in, the first 2 to 8 positions on the search results could be sponsored products, right? You can definitely test this if you want. You can lower the bid, lower the budget, and see what that does, what kind of impact it has on your total organic sales. So really pay close attention to that and really test that out if you want to try to reduce your bid and your budget. Number 2, what daily budget would I have on exact, broad, and auto campaign? Also, how about bids in exact, broad, and auto after launch? Okay, so I don't have the exact budget for you, but percentage-wise, eventually what you want to do is kind of get to 80%, 70, 80% exact, broad maybe 10 to 15%, and auto campaigns most likely 5 to 10% or so, depending where you are in your phase when you first launch. But usually what I like to end up is around those percentages as you kind of scale your campaigns. Optimize your campaigns, you promote certain things, you negate it. I want to get to exact where most of my budget are in exact campaigns, so that way I can actually really control my bids and scale from there. And the bids, really just managing to what your Acos and total target Acos should be. Number 3, if my keywords have 0 impressions, then I have to increase the bid. What keywords still have no permissions? What keywords still have no? What still have no impressions? So basically, from what it sounds like, a 0 impression. What should I do? Again, I think I answered this the same thing a few times. Again, make sure when you promote campaigns, you negate it from the source to make sure you really isolate these keywords, right? You might hear this phrase, search term isolation, where you want to really isolate the keywords that you are bidding for. So you don't want to have the exact same keyword on multiple campaigns and without actually negating it from different campaigns, right? So basically, the structure is, again, you have auto, broad, and exact. So auto campaign, if you're promoting it to a broad, you negate it from your auto campaign. Again, the keyword is fishing pole for kids in your broad campaign, and then you're going to have the same exact campaign, fishing pole for kids, over there as well. But what you're doing is negating it as exact in the broad campaign, and then in your auto campaign you are negating search term for kids as a phrase in your auto campaign. So I hope that makes sense. I'm like drawing it in my head. Let's see. We have question 4. Good converting keywords from broad. Should I put an exact or an exact campaign, or divide them per search volume? So I would have them, basically this is basically what I like to do in my tier volume based tier approach for search terms. So if these are high volume search terms, what I like to do is give it, and high volume is different for different categories. Piece it out to a scat, single campaign ad target campaign, basically. One ad, one search term for high volume keywords. And then in the next batch, I like to have kind of medium and even low volume based search terms, so they can get enough traffic. If you do one for every single campaign, it might be very daunting for you to optimize it. It might be a lot of work, depending how much you have. Okay, so number 5, I have around 25 keywords in PPC campaign, but I'm converting very good, only 5 of them. I have sales only on 5 keywords, 8 to 10 on 5. I have sales only on 5 keywords, 8 to 10 sales a day. Is that okay? It's hard to answer, but what I would do is actually move the, you have 25 out of 5 of them are good. I'm assuming usually what I see is when you have that much amount, I'm assuming, again, I'm making a few assumptions that these are a mixed bag of volume-based search terms. It could be all 25 high volume search terms, or it could be a mixed bag of low, medium, and high. And what I would do is just start separating them into buckets. You could have your own formula. Maybe you could do 5 each. I do a volume-based approach, but either way, the method is, really, you did a lot of work on these keyword research, I hope, and you want to make sure you get enough impressions and data behind it so you can actually scale those up. Okay. All right, so let's move on to Tim. This might be the last one. I'm about 23 minutes in there. So let's take a look at the sponsored display audiences. I have been spending a lot of time and money trying to get audiences campaigns to actually convert and work, but it seems like a huge waste. Yep, it normally is, but my products are high converting normally, and I do well with sponsored products and brands campaigns, but never with audiences. Anyone else experience the same thing? Any tips, or should I stay focused on what's already been working? All right, so I jumped on sponsored display probably earlier in the year when everyone else got access to it. It's very exciting. They have their own audiences where you can actually retarget, within 30 days. Whoever visited your site, haven't purchased from you, you want to retarget them, right? They're also lookalike audiences, kind of, right? Who shop similar items from you. You could target. So I tried a whole lot, and a few accounts that I have managed in the past, a lot, and most of them honestly just have high conversion, right? High impressions, high spend with low conversions. Some of them do when you start segmenting maybe certain different audiences and really test that out. But you have to remember, I come from a digital marketing background where we think about the full marketing cycle, the full buying cycle of a customer, right? There's top of the funnel people, top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. And I treat mostly sponsored display audiences as top of the funnel, where you're trying to get more people into your bucket at very at a high level, right? Who doesn't know your brand? Who doesn't know your products? They don't know exactly what they're looking for. Perhaps, and you're trying to target them and introduce them to your products. And then it comes in the middle of the funnel, MOFU, right? Tofu, MOFU, and BOFU, middle of the funnel. And then finally, the bottom of the funnel, where you can actually use remarketing for bottom of the funnel in very long tail keywords, very keywords that are more precise when you're ready to buy. So, for example, if I'm using fishing pole. Fishing pole might be more of a middle of the funnel keyword, right? I don't know exactly what kind of fishing pole that I'm looking for, but But when you get to the bottom of the funnel, let's say fishing pole for kids, that's more of a very intent-based search. I'm ready to buy bass fishing poles, for example, or even trout fishing poles, 6 feet. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So these are very intent-based, bottom of the funnel search. They are ready to buy, and you most likely get a higher conversion rate at the bottom of the funnel than at the top of the funnel. What I would do normally is just make sure you have a budget. I'm sure you probably know this, but for others listening, different amount of budgets per campaign type. So most of your campaign type will be invested into sponsor products, and then sponsor brand, and then display last, right? Maybe again 80% sponsor product, and then another 70 to 80, and then another 10 to 20%, even 30% brands, and some people don't even use display, and then a fraction 5 to 10% for sponsored display. So as you kind of scale your account more, you might want to play around with those numbers, and as you get more get better at playing with all these different campaign types. So I actually have a lot more screenshots that I did. I didn't get through them. I didn't know it was going to take this long, but I'm going to try to do this at least once a week, get this out. And if you like this pretty much video, go ahead, like it, subscribe, and if you are interested in learning more about PPC, I do have a link below, trafficandconvert.com. That's my version 2 of my Amazon PPC advertising masterclass. This is the evergreen edition, whereas my original version, probably 2-3 years ago, is kind of a bit outdated, but the evergreen edition is where I like to stay on top of the new strategies and tactics. Anything old that is no longer working, I'm going to take it out. Just like rebate key, when you heard a week or two ago, they're no longer part of TOS. That's no longer a strategy using rebate key, so that's taken out. But anything that is relevant, I'm going to have the latest strategy and tactics there, and I'm looking to build this up into Walmart, into different types of categories. So get in now, trafficandconvert.com. Thank you for watching.